Hi friends, Renee Keese here with Carolina Creative. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I'm here with more card making ideas for you. Today I'm going back to Christmas. I haven't done a Christmas card video since July when I did 2 for Christmas in July. Today I'm going to play with this Sentimental Wishes. I've been having a lot of fun with this. They're kind of old-fashioned, vintage, retro-looking designs. This bundle comes with all these stamps and some really nice sentiments, as well as dies that will then die cut the stocking and the candles and the spray of holly and a bow and a little sprig, and there's a lot you can do with this. But what's really cool is if you go beyond the bundle to the whole suite, there's some beautiful papers. These again are kind of that old-timey, almost gift wrap looking, and then the back sides have more universal designs. I love these candles, and you can die cut some of these out as well as using the designs that are on the paper. So today I'm actually going to use this piece of paper. And what I've done is I pulled my Deckled Circles dies. And what I'm going to do is very simply select a piece, it's upside down for you, select a piece of the design that I like, punch it out as a circle, and make it look like an ornament. You can see how easy this is going to be. So I'm really going to let the designer paper do a lot of the work and just do a little bit of stamping. I'll do another video after this with some more detailed stamping. But for today, what you can see is I've now cut 2 different die cuts. I've got the 2 deer, and then I went just slightly larger with that same deckled circle for the red, and then I've got this is garden green, and I've cut it long ways. So this is the 11-inch side, and this is 4 1/4, and then I'll score this in just a minute at 5 1/2. So this is what I'm starting with. Let me flip the camera down, show you my work area here. I'm going to do my stamping first because I still have a little bit of embossing I want to do. So let me stamp just the 2 or 3 things that I want to stamp, and then we'll get going. So I'm going to pull out, I didn't grab my inks. I've got garden green and I've got real red because these go with the colors I'm using. So now I've got to decide what do I want to do. I think on the front I'm going to stamp in real red. I might do green on the inside. So I'm going to emboss this piece of white. So what I'm going to stamp, I'll move this to the side, is just a small sentiment to go on not on the very bottom, but toward the bottom, because this is going to have embossed texture. And I'm doing a mix of old and new. So I pulled this Christmas cheer stamp out of my itty bitty Christmas greetings. Some of you may be familiar with this. I love this for some of the smaller designs. It's just perfect. And then I went and found everybody has a snowflake embossing folder somewhere. So I pulled out, this is now retired, but I mean, we have several other snowflakes. I do have one that's just, it fits in the small embossing machine. So I'm kind of positioning this just a little bit so there's not a lot of snowflake on what I've stamped, but I don't think that's going to be too critical. I'll run that through in a minute. Let me finish my stamping first. Inside, what I'm going to do is take one of the sentiments right out of the stamp kit now that says, "Have a very Merry Christmas." And I think this has a really fun font to it as well. I like this a lot. Have a very merry, and we all have to do that on occasion. I might need to re-ink that. So let's try again. How many times have I told people, if you don't like it the first time, flip it over and try again. There we go. I got that inked up better. And now what I want to do is take this holly. Let's make sure I got this inked up. Yeah, I think it's time to re-ink that pad. I've been using that quite a bit. I'm just going to put a little, there we go, spray of holly in the corner. Another added surprise. And while I've got it here, I'm just going to fill in these leaves with a little shimmer and pull just a little bit of that green ink. Because I just stamped this, I can do this shading very quickly and just mix up some of that ink with my Wink of Stella pen. So it will have just that little bit of shimmer and a hint of green ink. Big difference now when you see what this looks like. Okay. And that's all the stamping I'm going to do. So 3 stamps, a sentiment, a little design on the inside, and then my sentiment on the front. So now what I want to do is move this out of the way. I put my stamping, cut, and emboss machine on the floor beside me so I could grab this very quickly. For this, I do need the gray plate. So I'm using my base plate, the gray plate, and my embossing folder. And I still need one more layer. That's not as thick of a embossing folder as I thought it was. So you do need the additional layer. I get surprised. Some are thicker, some are thinner. You can tell as soon as you try to run it through the machine, you can tell you don't have enough layers because it's not going to make the impression. So here we go. I'm going to run it through. I can now get, it's wanting just a little static electricity there. I can now get this out of my way for right now. So now what I've done is embossed on this layer. You can still clearly read what I've stamped, but it's going to have that pretty snowflake background. Okay, so I've got my parts and pieces. I have my card insert. I have what is going to go together as my, it's going to look like an ornament when I get done. So here's my trimmer. I'm now going to score, because I cut this on the long side, score this at 5.5 and fold this in half. So now it looks like a standard card. Let's give this a nice crisp edge. There we go, nice burnish. Okay, so I'm ready to start assembling. This is a very quick way to make, a bunch of cards. And you can see where I didn't ink well. So yeah, that is next on my agenda, is to go ahead and re-ink this garden green ink pad, because I have just used too much. This is not wanting to flow today. I've been having a little trouble. I have several open. Let me grab another one. Easy solution. Yep, there we go. So let's dot the glue on. Flip this over, hide that. So there's my card insert. And now, because of the texture on here, which I love, I'm going to go ahead and use my Stampin' Seal and make sure that this is going to lay nice and flat. I do like to get the corners and the edges and put a little in the middle too. So I have, let's get this pretty even so it's framed. Needs to move just a little bit to my left. What you're seeing is your right. And a little bit up. I like that better. Okay. Now, what I should have done is I'm going to tuck this under. You know what? I have a tiny piece of scrap sitting here, and I'm going to go ahead and use this because it's just the right size. So I'm going to grab a glue dot. This is going to look like my ornament hanger. And I'm going to put the glue dot on the back side. It's going to get tucked under. So I'm just going to slide this in. I want to make sure I've got it centered. And then I'm going to grab another glue dot and hold the front down. Just like that. Okay. So I'm ready to start assembling. I'm just going to put one piece on the other. The fun with this is, as I get this assembled, I'll have to make a decision. This is a much bigger ornament because the pattern was bigger. So I'll have to decide, do I want it flat on here? Do I want it to be three-dimensional and be popped up off the card base with dimensionals? I think I'm just going to go flat. This is a really big piece. If it was a little smaller, I might have popped the whole thing up. But for right now, I'm going to go flat. So let's put that on there. I had pre-tied a bow, so that bow, again, I need my glue dots. These come in very handy. I'm going to try to put it right behind the center knot and put that up on top by the hanger. Now, these little sprigs also came out of the dies for this set. And so I did die cut these in advance because I was thinking, well, maybe I'll put a little sprig on there. I could have one going up and one coming down. I actually like that. It just adds another little something to this. The tricky part is getting glue on some of these little tips so that they will lay flat and not get caught every time somebody or you pick up and handle the card. So let me tuck that behind. Yep, I think that'll hold. And then put a little more on here. And I see a piece that didn't punch out. So I'll get that in just a minute. All right. Let me turn this at an angle so I can get it in there. I don't want to cover, oh, there's a cute little bird there too. I might have to angle this a little bit more so that the bird shows. And my last step on here is I think I'm going to give a little wink of Stella shimmer to these cute, playful deer. This is just a really nice woodland scene. So nice message, Christmas cheer. Let me get a little on the birds too. Okay, so completed card. Let me pull my camera up here. So letting the paper do the work. Stamped it, I kind of made it look like an ornament with the background. I'm using, red and green, but obviously you could pull other colors out of here. The green and the blue, or it's almost the peacock color, look really pretty too when you put it together. And then inside, have a very Merry Christmas. I'll show you another one I did the other day. I did not emboss. This time I used another piece of designer paper behind an ornament. And this is a little smaller than the one I just did. So kind of a variation on the theme, but it's got those old-timey trees. And then I heat embossed the Merry Christmas on there. And then let's see, what did I put inside this one? Wishing you joy and happiness. And again, a little bit of holly sprigs in there just for another surprise when you open the card. So there's a card making tip for today. Thanks for joining me. If you like the products or the projects you see here, you can find me at Carolina Creative, # Carolina Creative. I am on the Stampin' Up! Network, Renee Keese at stampinup.net. Stay tuned for the next video.